you're not on this. It'll just be me and Amy at first. Then I'll give it to her. And then I'll be doing a Dhamma talk after the break, and then a final sitting. And about 7:20, we shut down the stream, but there'll be time for everybody to talk. Hey there, Amy. You made it back.
Aloha.
Okay, I've turned on that microphone, but we'll probably get a little echo. So we'll have time for conversation afterwards when the echo won't matter. We should also welcome anybody who's joining us on YouTube. We do stream this to YouTube. So welcome. If you're ever wanting to join in and you can't be here, that's why we do that. It's also a good place to record it so we can pass it around to other people pretty easily. So welcome. It is now almost 6 o'clock, so let's start with a couple of announcements before I turn it over to Amy. I already mentioned the bathroom. So it's in the foyer, and there's a slide lock and a door lock. Just use the slide. And do close the door after you leave, because if there's any breeze, which there isn't tonight, it can swing and screech and make a little noise. There's also a box up front. The Bodhi Tree has been really generous to us in letting us be here without rent. And so if this is of value for you, this space, I don't necessarily mean our sitting, but the space is of value to you, you might consider offering some generosity in return. It's not necessary, though, but that box is there. Amy and I take none of it, so it all goes to the Bodhi Tree. And with that welcome, it's very generous of you to be here. And now, from Alaska, let me give you, Amy, if I can figure out which camera to...
Fairbanks, Alaska, North Pole, Alaska. It's a little bit colder here and darker here than I think in Hawaii right now. This coming week, we're going to hit close to like -25. And we've been snowing all day. It's been an icy adventure on the road. And yeah, but I'm missing Hawaii a little bit, but I'll be there over part of the Christmas break near New Year's. So maybe I'll see you all then. But yeah, so we are going to start with some movement, but before we move, just want to say if anybody doesn't feel comfortable moving, everything we're going to do can be done seated. If you do choose to stand in, if we move our arms high, and just be careful for the fans. And yeah, just really glad to be here with you all. So we are gonna, for those who want to stand, just making sure, just coming into the present right now, here and now. And as you choose to stand, just notice when that urge to stand begins, and seeing if you can pay attention as you begin to stand. Okay. If at any point you can't hear me, I know Bob will tell me you can start waving your arms wildly, mindfully wildly. Yeah, we'll start out just feeling, what is it like now to be standing? We made it here, the end of our day. right here at the Bodhi Tree, here in Fairbanks, North Pole, Alaska. We'll start with some movement that's a little more intense, just to let some of our day go. So let's start with just some bouncing around. Maybe letting your arms shake out a little bit as you bounce around. Maybe slowly increasing the movement a little more. Maybe just stomping it out. Maybe marching if that feels better. Letting go, letting go, letting go. And then coming to stillness. Feeling what that's like now. And then we'll begin to do more movement again. We'll begin to twist our arms around as they kind of slap our back and our shoulder. You can do this as gently or as lightly as your body wants. Maybe your body wants some back slaps that are a little more firm, or they want it a little more gentle. And slowing it down, coming to a stop. When you're ready. And once again, what does this moment feel like? Maybe our breath's a little different. Maybe our body's a little warmer. And we're going to, if the body allows, the invitation is to bend down and act as if you're picking up some of your stressors, some of your worries, and then holding them up almost like you're pulling up a ball up into the sky, and then slamming them down into the ground, let it go into the earth, letting the earth take it. We'll do a few more of these. Reaching down, maybe it's work we're letting go of, we're holding on to, honoring, and then letting go. Do a few more, just at your own pace, as many or as few as you want to do. Noticing the body as we move this way. Change in movement, slow and fast. And then coming to a standstill again. Maybe swaying just gently on this earth. Or of the earth, made of stardust. And then just choosing one standing stretch that your body's asking for. Maybe we'll do one or two. You get to choose your own stretch when it comes to standing. So whatever the body's asking for, moving to it mindfully and doing it your own pace. And when we're ready, we'll come to a seat. See you guys bigger now. I'm going to do a little bit more movement before we come to stillness. So we're going to go ahead and stretch our arms out and bringing them in and letting them wrap around yourself, almost like a hug. You can pause there for a moment and then letting them release again, stretching out, maybe opening the heart and the chest, maybe the head goes back. So it feels okay for the body. And bringing it in again, maybe the other arm on top. Just going ahead at your own pace with this movement. And then coming to stillness again when you're ready. And seeing what that's like in the body now. And if you feel comfortable, placing both hands on the heart, the chest. And we'll begin to make small circles with our hands. We can go one direction or another direction. So much of the practice comes from compassion, presence, compassionate presence, and many people feel that compassionate presence here in the heart. And you might pause the arms, pause the hands. Maybe allow just the thumbs to move a bit, maybe just one thumb in this area. This is something I do. Even in my daily life, I'll pause and have a hand on my heart for certain things. Maybe taking a slower, deeper breath. And allowing the shoulders to relax. And do one set of last movements. I'm going to just let our neck stretch a bit. And just tilt it to the side if that feels okay. Back and forth gently. If you have any neck issues, be very gentle here or opt out. It feels okay to make circles. Do so at your own risk. Feels good. Really, whatever neck movements are being asked for by your body is the invitation. My body's calling for one more type of movement, so we'll do one more if you would like. So placing the hand down, maybe on your leg or on the earth, and then reaching the other arm up to stretch it out. And you can do so with the other arm when you're ready. And when you're ready to come to stillness, you can find a comfortable enough position for your body to sit for the next 20 or so minutes. If there's any other little movements that are needed. So often in our day, we're not paying attention to what our body needs. What might it be like to, remember? Mindfulness is often remembering we have a body, remembering to be in this moment. If at any point during this sit, the body starts to feel like this isn't wise anymore to sit like this, please feel comfortable to move. You can move as in, you can adjust just your position. You can just do it mindfully, carefully. Or you can move as in choosing a new position like a chair or standing or laying down. We're not practicing Zen here where there has to be a certain posture. We're listening right now to what allows the body to be both awake and relaxed. If it's comfortable to close the eyes, if they aren't already closed. It's not a requirement though. The gaze can be lowered instead of the eyes closed. Invitation to just take some longer, slower, deeper breaths here at the beginning. It's okay to make some noise with the inhale or exhale if you want. And letting the breath return to normal. Everything we do in this sit is an invitation. If you choose to do so, if it feels of support, you can listen to the guidance of my voice. Or if you have a practice that is calling to you or supports you, you can just allow my voice to run in the background. If thoughts of the day come up, or thoughts that are distressing or distracting. You can note them. You see thoughts. I see you, busy mind. We're trying this thing right now to be present, honoring this moment right now doesn't mean that we're not going to honor our to-do list at some point. At this moment, we're choosing to come back, to keep coming back here and now. What can often help us anchor, what we can call an anchor to the here and now, can be something like the breath. It can also be the body, the sensation of where our bodies are planted on the earth. If the breath doesn't feel support, it can also be sound. And choosing an anchor for yourself now that you're going to stay with. Every time the mind wanders, we just catch it. When we catch it, and that there is a moment of mindfulness. This is what brains do. And when we catch it, we can feel how it feels in the body and mind to catch it. Are we scolding ourselves? Are we like, oh, I'm back? Cool. If we're competing with ourselves to stay as mindful as possible, things can get a little tricky inside. We're competing and pressuring ourselves. We might lose equanimity or compassion, and that too is part of the practice. To persist in this practice without compassion, without understanding, can be harsh. Mhm. Can feel different than what I feel the Buddha was encouraging from this practice. Persistence with understanding, compassion. We're building the patience of a lifetime as we sit here. Patience with ourselves and these bodies, this suffering of being human. We come back. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. No one to be. Who we are right now is enough. And this moment be enough. If the body started to tighten up, can we notice that and send wishes for the places inside that are tight to soften even a little bit. Or if they cannot soften, can we accept them for what they are right now? We're all here today for a reason. Something sparked inside to try this out. To do something new or to stick with something, to persevere. How do we hold it? To do hard things, keep challenging ourselves, to keep coming back. For this ultra marathon of life and its difficulties. How we hold it, how we hold ourselves matters. Maybe we can push ourselves and be tough on ourselves in some moments. But if we're tough on ourselves for a lifetime, it's very easy to burn out or to have a difficult relationship with ourselves. Can we persevere? If it's held with kind of passion, understanding, care, that encouraging voice of keep going, keep coming back. It's okay to struggle. Come back. And letting my words fall away and just returning to your anchor, the breath of the body or sound. close, I'm going to slightly tweak an Irish proverb. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine down upon your face. May the rain fall soft upon your field. And until we meet again, may the Dharma hold you in the palm of its hand. Bring. Thank you so much. So we're going to have a 7-minute break. And the encouragement is to do this silently. You can use the restroom, get some water, stretch, walk around mindfully. You can continue to sit. Just going to try to sustain the silence. And then when we come back, we'll be turning it over to Bob for a little talk, a little more sitting. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Welcome back. This is the part where I get to talk for a little while. But why don't we start with a nice deep breath just to kind of cleanse ourselves and settle back in. If you're in a wiggle or something, just get yourself ready for about 15 minutes of me chatting. I'm going to start tonight by saying the topic tonight is one of the paramis, the 10 paramis, also known as the Buddha's perfections. And it's not something that we, myself anyway, maybe you guys can, it's not about being perfect. As far as it goes for us, I personally think trying to be more skillful in these areas is probably about as good as I can do. And tonight we're talking about adhitthana, which is determination. But I wanted to start with a wonderful poem by Joy Harjo, who's a Native American poet. And this poem really spoke to me. It's rather long, so I'll be determined to listen to it all. It's called Calling the Spirit Back from Wandering the Earth in Its Human Feet. Put down that bag of potato chips, that white bread, that bottle of pop. Turn off the cell phone, computer, and remote control. Open the door, then close it behind you. Take a breath offered by friendly winds. They travel the earth, gathering the essence of plants to clean. Give it back with gratitude. If you sing, it will give your spirit lift to fly to the stars, ears, and back. Acknowledge the earth who has cared for you since you were a dream planting itself precisely within your parents' desire. Let your moccasin feet take you to the encampments of the guardians who have known you before time, who will be there after time. They sit before the fire that has been there without time. Let the earth stabilize your post-colonial insecure jitters. Be respectful of small insects, birds, and animal people who accompany you. Ask their forgiveness for the harm we humans have brought down upon them. Don't worry. The heart knows the way, though there may be high rises, interstates, checkpoints, armed soldiers, massacres, wars, and those who despise you because they despise themselves. The journey might take you a few hours, a day, a year, a few years, 100, 1,000, or even more. Watch your mind. Without training, it might run away and leave your heart for the immense human feast set by the thieves of time. Do not hold regrets. When you find your way to the circle, to the fire kept burning by the keepers of your soul, you will be welcomed. You must clean yourself with cedar, sage, or other healing plant. Cut the ties you have to failure and shame. Let go the pain you are holding in your mind, your shoulders, your heart, all the way to your feet. Let go the pain of your ancestors to make way for those who are heading in our direction. Ask for forgiveness. Call upon the help of those who love you. These helpers take many forms: animal, element, angel, bird, saint, stone, or ancestor. Call your spirit back. It may be caught in corners and creases of shame, judgment, and human abuse. You must call in a way that your spirit will want to return. Speak to it as you would to a beloved child. Welcome your spirit back from its wandering. It may return in pieces, in tatters,
gather them together. They will be happy to be found after being lost for so long. Your spirit will need to sleep a while after it is bathed and given clean clothes. Now you can have a party. Invite everyone you know who loves and supports you. Keep room for those who have no place else to go. Make a giveaway. And remember, keep the speeches short. Then you must do this. Help the next person find their way through the dark. To me, that really speaks of determination to walk the path of the Dhamma. She isn't specifically talking about it, but then again, what isn't the Dhamma? So she specifically is in my mind. And I love that line, the heart knows the way, though there may be high rises, checkpoints, and wars, and all of that. That determination to come back to ourselves, to be present in this moment with what is, I think really comes to me from that poem. And it's not about hard, just striving. It's about returning again and again to presence in ourselves. It's about being willing, even in the face of things, just to come back and come back. Amy spoke to that a little in her meditation. And she said, if we get lost, just return, just come back. There is a Bodhi tree outside. Jimmy, one of the people who here, has cut most of the branches off, but it is there. And I'm also reminded of the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree when he made that vow of determination that he was not going to move. He was not going to leave sitting until he achieved awakening. Now, I don't expect that I'll be doing that. I'm not going to sit up here or even under the Bodhi tree until then. And of course, he was the Bodhisattva at the time, so he had a lot more practice at this. But he kept returning in that sense to that fierce determination, even in the face of Mara, who came and offered all of those, those worldly things and threatened things. And he just touched the earth and said, the earth acknowledges that this is my path. This is okay. I think a better example for me, though, was this weekend. I got to be at a weekend meditation retreat. It wasn't specifically Buddhist. It was unguided. So I got to lead myself through it. But I spent essentially Friday evening, all day Saturday, through Sunday morning up on the Pali at a lovely retreat center with other people in silence. We maintained silence through it. And I walked and I sat and I walked and I sat. But I also fell in love. And I fell in love with a woman who was present in some ways. And her name is Deepa Ma. I also took her biography up there to read. And she just touched my heart. And it was really the recollections of all the people that she had touched at IMS and other meditation places in Burma. If you don't know the story of Deepa Ma, she was an Indian woman who was essentially married at 12 and went to live with her husband at 14, which is very common in that time. This is the 30s and things like that. And she was lucky. She did have a loving husband, but she lost 2 children. And she had one living child. Deepa, actually Deepa Ma means Deepa's mother. And there's also a deeper meaning to Deepa, but I don't recall it offhand, and I didn't write it down, and I should have, but you can read the biography and you'll get it. But it broke her heart to lose these children. And then she lost her husband at a young age. And so she was a single mother who really only had the skills of housekeeping in a sense. And she had come in contact with Buddhist teachers. They had moved to Burma, and she just thirsted for that because she wanted to be free of dukkha. She wanted to be free of pain. She wanted to be free of this suffering that she was feeling over the loss of her children, her husband, the life that had been planned. And it's hard. I mean, we think of ourselves sometimes as sort of economically oppressed, but I mean, most of us got to drive here. Most of us live pretty well, even if we have to work hard for that. This was poverty. This was poverty as it is in India. And she came in contact with Mahasi Sayadaw and really wanted to pursue that path. And she just fiercely went after it. She also learned how to do it while being a mother of Deepa. And she became, in many ways, a Buddhist saint for this. And she was introduced to Westerners, like some of the first Westerners that went over to follow in this path, Joseph Goldstein, Sharon Salzberg, Jack Kornfield, many of the people that we're aware of in the Western insight meditation tradition. In fact, I don't even know if Amy knows this, but one of the teachers we sit with, Tom from Aloha Sangha, sat at IMS with Deepa Ma. So welcome. Deepa Ma is now in your lineage as well. So congratulations. And I absolutely fell in love with her determination for this. And it's a real beacon for that persistence, that thirst, that love of the Dhamma, the really wanting to have it. The Buddha's vow beneath the Bodhi tree was heroic resolve. I mean, the Buddha, right? We're not going to argue that. But I don't think Deepa Ma's resolve was any less heroic. In many ways, it was equally heroic, because here is a woman with very, very little and with just unending grief, who was able to find peace in the Dhamma and become a renowned teacher, beloved by everyone. One of the stories that I really love about her is that she moved into sort of a slum building with her daughter, very packed, overcrowded, and it was noisy and loud, and people were everything, right? But within a couple of months, the whole place was quiet and respectful. Not because she'd gone out and told people to be that way, but simply because of her equanimous presence, if you will, because of her love, because of her Dhamma, and because of her teaching. The neighborhood just really grew to respect her. So that's what it's like to be an ordinary person who really strives for that. I don't think I have 1/10 of that resolve or 100th of that resolve, and that's really why I fell in love with her, because it's that fact that it's possible for me. If it was possible for her, it's possible for me. That doesn't mean I have her determination. Doesn't mean I have the adhitthana she had. That's the Pali word for this. It doesn't mean I'll ever get it in this lifetime. But it is possible. And I think that's the beauty of it. So many people who are not familiar with Buddhism go, oh, so you worship the Buddha. And no. We just acknowledge that here's this guy who found a path, and then basically said, hey, Pasiko, come and see if this works. See if this works for you. And Deepa Ma followed in that path, and it worked for her. And if you read her biography, if you've read it, If you haven't read it, I highly recommend. It's a really easy read. I was able to read it in just a couple of hours, just devouring it up at that retreat. One of the things I do that though takes a little determination. And I was trying to relate this to my own life. I bicycle everywhere and I love long distance cycling. I actually bicycled to that retreat in the sun on Friday afternoon. Now, I'm not trying to claim that that's anything like her life or her struggle. It was a beautiful ride. But bicycling is that calm, quiet determination, one foot after the other. Just not racing. You're not going to get there. Not racing. I'm a snail. One of our favorite haikus in this sangha is, "Oh, snail, climb Mount Fuji, but slowly, slowly." It's from Kobayashi Isa, I believe. And that snail, I choose to think that snail makes it up Mount Fuji, but slowly, slowly. So she showed that it's possible for householders like us to really achieve awakening. I don't know where along the path she landed, but as far as I'm concerned, she was an awakened being. And that just gives me that determination to double my practice that much more. And I don't necessarily mean double the length of my practice or the number of sittings, but just the zeal, that determination, that quiet returning to it, that returning over and over and cultivating. In this practice, we cultivate much like a farm. We're not building a grand tower. We're not building a city. We're planting seeds and we're growing them and we're remembering, as Amy brought up in her meditation, that to water them, to carry on. So that Joy Harjo poem also really speaks to me and it talks about that determination again in her line, "The heart knows the way." Watch your mind. Without training, it might run away and leave your heart. Unless we think that all of this is just, sitting and noting and sitting and noting and sitting and noting, which is vipassana, there's also metta and loving kindness. And one of my favorite phrases, and I knew this one before I read the book, is Deepa Ma saying, from her experience, there is no difference between insight and loving kindness. So in this practice, we practice both with presence, with cultivation, with memory, with returning, with that persistence, adhitthana, again and again. And we do it with metta. We do it with loving kindness. Why don't we sit again for about 20 minutes? Go ahead and get comfortable. We'll take a few cleansing breaths at our own pace. While I set my timer. Otherwise, with all the determination, I might just keep sitting. No, I might not. That's my fear. All right, just take a few cleansing breaths at your own pace, allowing ourselves to become comfortable. Feeling our groundedness with the earth. Allowing our consciousness to settle in our body, the same way our body is settled on our cushion or our chair. Just allowing ourselves to become present. If our shoulders are tight, just allow them to drop. We needn't carry anything for the next few minutes. If there's tension in our face or forehead, just smile. Allow our inhalation to bring fresh air in, and our exhalation to carry the tension, the tightness of the day. Allow ourselves simply to sit and know we are sitting. If you have a favorite practice, feel free. You needn't follow along with my guidance. But I would offer us the opportunity to begin by finding an anchor. Something we can return to easily. This might be our breath, if we are comfortable with breath. And I will be guiding us with breath. But if we're not comfortable with that, the sounds around us, the sense of being grounded through sitting, all make good anchors. Choose another. In tonight's practice, we'll begin by returning again and again with that gentle persistence, that gentle determination to remain present. If sounds arise, we might note hearing, if it's helpful, or sensations in our body, or even thoughts. But with that aditana, returning again and again to our breath or anchor, with the intention simply to be present for this one breath, just this one, not the last, not the next, just what is in this moment. If we are distracted or carried away by a thought, when we've noticed, just smile. Congratulations. You noticed. And return again, gently determined to find our anchor and to return to this one breath, this very one right now. We might recall the words of Deepa Ma. In my experience, there is no difference between mindfulness and loving kindness. And with that, if you'd like, I would offer a transition to a metta practice. If you're comfortable, you might place your hand over your heart and feel the warmth of touch, of contact, even our own. And allow, as if it were a candle, our heart space to begin to pervade metta, loving kindness. The candle, warm, illuminating. It might be strong and bright, but even just a flicker will reach every edge of this space. If metta phrases are helpful, we might repeat them. May all beings be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. Or we might simply allow this candle, this pilot lamp of metta to pervade the space around us. Imagining, if you will, a curtained room, curtains all around. We throw the curtain in front of us open and allow metta to pervade to the front and touch all beings in that direction. We breathe out metta, pervading it, and we inhale the metta they pervade and that reflected back from them. Opening the curtains to the right, we wish all beings to the right well, pervading metta to the front, to the right. Opening the curtains to the rear, we pervade to all beings. May they all be well. Opening the curtains to the left, we pervade all around us. May all beings be well. Be safe, happy, and open to joy. Throwing off the curtains overhead and below. Our candle, our pilot lamp of metta, pervades metta in all directions, touching all beings, seen and unseen, big and small, swimming, flying, walking, crawling, burrowing deep underground. With each exhale, we pervade metta in all directions, to the edge of the unknown and beyond. And with each inhale, metta returns to us. Allowing our metta, as Joy Harjo says, to throw a party for our loved ones, but making room for those who have no place to go. As we prepare to end this sitting, let's set an intention to allow our determination, our persistence, to bring us back again and again to presence of this moment, whichever moment it happens to be, and to remember that insight, that mindfulness, and metta, loving kindness, can be one and the same. I'll invite the bell to ring in a moment. There's no need to hurry back. Allow the sound to join with our practice and carry metta with it as it pervades our hearing and continues on to the edges of the known and beyond. Thank you for practicing with me. Take your time coming back. We're going to end the stream now. Amy will be right back on, and we'll open it up for reflections or questions. And if you've been with us tonight online, thank you so much. We hope you come back again.